All right, guys. So Nancy Pelosi sort of imploded a little bit yesterday at the post-impeachment press conference, in which she goes in on Mitch McConnell, right, and his decision, and she talks about everything that led up to this moment. Now, to me, it's very interesting seeing Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell go back and forth with each other, and it really reminds me why they are the leaders of their parties, because they know how to finesse. And I know a lot of you guys don't like when I give Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell credit for their ability to finesse, because they use their ability to finesse for corruption. But obviously I'm against the corruption, but at the same time there is a level of finesse that is needed in politics, okay? And they do this at the highest level. Now Nancy Pelosi is going to come out here in this press conference with crocodile tears, in my opinion, where she's going to pretend like she's so upset and so appalled and surprised at the fact that the Republicans did not convict Trump, when she knew this was going to be the outcome the whole time. She was 100% aware of the overwhelming chance that the Republicans were going to acquit the president. Okay, so to come out here and act mad, really, in my opinion, is just funny to me, because her and Mitch McConnell are like two brothers and sisters going back and forth with each other, who know each other's best and worst tendencies. That's what it is. So let's take a listen at Nancy Pelosi and her borderline implosion here.
So the big lie, stop the steal, the big lie that you talked about, stop the steal, was the momentum for getting these people there on the 6th. They honestly believe, for whatever reason, maybe too much social media, whatever. Watch Social Media, that movie. Why they were thinking that that was true, that the election...
I think she meant Social Dilemma. I think that's the movie she actually meant.
...was not legitimate, whatever the reason the president told them. So, okay, so that's the 6th. The week later, we impeach him.
And for her to sit here and try to basically dismiss, like, oh, well, why would they think that? What reasons do they have for thinking that? To me, it just shows that she doesn't care about why people think the way they think about the election. If she doesn't care, then that means she doesn't know. And if she doesn't know, then how can you fix a problem that you know nothing about, right? If you really are concerned about preventing something like that, which was horrible, terrible, unexcusable, from happening again, then you might want to get to the key root of why people feel the way they feel about the election. That's what she should do, because that ultimately will help solve the problem. If you at least show some concern and acknowledge that, okay, I understand why you feel the way you feel, but she's not doing that. She's dismissing the problem and trying to act like it doesn't exist. But then when it manifests itself into something that, is definitely unacceptable and everybody condemns, she want to boo-hoo and cry the loudest about it. But she's not really interested in trying to actually rectify the issue. She's more interested in playing politics.
In the House, thank you to those of you who participated right away. Jamie Raskin, Ted Lieu, and David Cicilline. Where's David Cicilline? They had it all written up and ready to go. Bipartisanly passed the House, and then 2 days later, ready with the case to take to the Senate. Oh, we can't receive it. Not a question. And then by the law, you're supposed to receive it and the next day start the trial. So for Mitch McConnell, who created the situation where it could not have been heard before the 20th, or even begun before the 20th in the Senate, to say all the things he said, oh my gosh, about Donald Trump and how horrible he was and is, and then say, but the time that the House chose to bring it over. No, we didn't choose. You chose not to receive it. So I think that's really important. And
honestly, Nancy Pelosi has actually an excellent point about this. And that's how this whole politics thing works, right? Like, if McConnell really truly believed what he believed about what Trump did in terms of how bad it was, right? For him to go and say what he said, he would have expedited the process, which he 100% had the power to do. He could have expedited the process and went ahead and got the Senate trial done. They could have convicted the president. For what Mitch McConnell said, if he really felt that way, that's what he would have done. And that would have got rid of the excuse of the constitutionality of it. But see, he purposely didn't do that because it gave him an out no matter which way he decided to go on the issue. Gave him more time to think about it. So he knew that no matter what, worst case scenario, if I choose to acquit, I can always say, well, I didn't think it was constitutional in the first place. So if it's not constitutional, then it's not our job to handle this. And we're going to basically let law enforcement in the criminal justice system handle it. Basically implying that Trump could be brought up on criminal charges and kind of saying that he hopes that happens. And if that happens, it's not like the Republican Party is going to step in and really help him. That's basically what Mitch McConnell's saying. And Nancy Pelosi knows that. She knows that. She knows that the establishment GOP is trying to distance themselves from Trump. But they're trying to do it in a different way than what she allegedly wants. And I say allegedly because I don't know if Nancy Pelosi actually wants Trump to be convicted. Because she knew that this was never going to happen. She knew the Republicans weren't going to vote on it. So for her to sit here and act so surprised about it, to me, just shows that she's virtue signaling to an audience. That's the only logical explanation. Because you already knew they weren't going to do it. So I really don't think that she expected it, which means that if she didn't expect it, then it was just a political show, which we all knew it was. And this is what the Democrat game plan has been, to virtue signal and to go after Trump. But at the same time, they want to keep Trump around. As long as Trump is around, they can continue to point at Trump and, go after Trump while at the same time deflecting from what they're doing, deflecting from the policies that they're passing, the same way that they use this impeachment trial to give Biden time on this stimulus package, to distract away from the fact that the Democrats have failed on their promise to get $2,000 in stimulus checks to the American citizens as soon as Biden was in office. They made that promise in exchange for votes in Georgia. And this is a political opportunity for the Democrats. The impeachment gave them the best opportunity to break their promises while keeping the American people distracted. That's the political game. And Nancy Pelosi is doing that. That's why I think this is crocodile tears right here.
Again, it doesn't matter, as Jamie and others have told us.
Now, this is a little later on in the interview in which she's basically going to really start to go off the rails here.
I think our country needs a strong Republican Party. It's very important. And for him to try to have it every which way. But we will be going forward to make sure that this never happens again in terms of to investigate and evaluate what caused this, and both in terms of the motivation, but also in terms of the security.
Well, see, now all of a sudden it's like, well, we want to understand what caused this in terms of motivation. Okay, so if that's truly what you want, then why have you continued to dismiss the concerns of a very significant population of people? Because earlier in the press conference, you said that, well, I don't know why they would believe that. I don't know why they would believe this. I don't know why they would believe that. Now, all of a sudden, after this is done, we actually do kind of want to address these concerns. Too little, too late here, in my opinion.
That we have to have as we go forward, recognizing how inflaming even some of our elected officials can be.
How about you? Let's talk about how inflammatory you can be, right? Did you not come in this press conference acting like, oh, Mitch McConnell's the worst person in the world, blah, 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 he's so bad, this, that, and the other?
But I defer to all these distinguished lawyers about what happened.
All right, let's see. So,
But Speaker Pelosi, is censure
I'll come to you and then I'll come to you. I'm sorry.
is censure an option right now then?
Censure is a slap in the face of the Constitution. That gives lets everybody off the hook. It lets everybody off the hook. Oh, these cowardly senators who couldn't face up to what the president did and what was at stake for our country are now going to have a chance to give a little slap on the wrist. We censure people for using stationery for the wrong purpose. We don't censure people for inciting insurrection that kills people in the Capitol.
That's a good answer.
You're here.
Wait, didn't she just say that we need to think about the inflammatory rhetoric that some of these politicians are using? Then she goes, walks off of the press conference, comes back up to the podium to give an inflammatory statement about how censor is not enough or not appropriate in this situation. Completely going up there, throwing a hissy fit, and using inflammatory statements right after she just said that that's an issue. That's why I said, man, this is an act from Nancy Pelosi. This is an act. She does not care about what happened at the Capitol and trying to find the root cause of it as much as she cares about the political opportunity that this has granted her. Okay, the opportunity to, again, virtue signal to the Republicans and conservatives about how liberals are above them and are, more civilized and whatever type of terminology you want to use when they have been the ringleaders of a playbook on how to be barbaric, right, for the past 12 to 13 months. And that's what really bothers me about these politicians. It's the fact that they try to act like they're looking for solutions. However, they never want to point the finger at themselves as a contributing cause. Because again, Black Lives Matter gave the playbook and honestly really set the path forward for something like the Capitol to happen, because they essentially set the precedent of, well, it's okay to just riot and protest and use violence in the street as long as you think that your cause is justified. Okay? And see, this is what I'm trying to get at. As long as both sides thinks that their causes are justified, right, you're going to get undesirable situations. If you don't acknowledge that both sides believe that their cause is justified, if that's something that you don't ever acknowledge, you can't fix anything. And Nancy Pelosi refuses to acknowledge that on her side. Conservatives have acknowledged that, okay, what happened at the Capitol was bad, right? We don't condone violence. This is not the way to handle things. Conservatives have acknowledged that, right? Conservatives have shown a willingness to deal with the demons on the right. The Democrats have not acknowledged a willingness to deal with any of the demons on the left. And they have demons, okay? Right? So that's what really gets me. I understand her being upset with McConnell for pulling a rabbit out of the hat. She should have expected that from her brother, right, in Congress. Okay? She should have expected that. He always does that. So for her to sit here and act like she's upset and this, that, and the other, it's just beyond me, right? It's just beyond me. I'm not buying it. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.